Okay, guys, I'm starting streaming now, but obviously we're gonna hold off on officially starting it for another 20 minutes or so. And like always, just want to make sure that everything is working. So let's take a look here. Yep, looks like we're starting the stream. Always good to have a couple devices here so that you can be sure that things are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And yeah, that looks good to me. I can see on my iPad that things are working well. I apologize, first of all, for delaying the start of this live stream. Obviously, my plan was, I was flying from Toronto to Las Vegas in the hopes that, I'd be able to have plenty of time to get everything set up in my hotel room and start streaming about DevLearn and all kinds of other cool stuff. But turns out that about 25 people were late getting to my flight, and of course that delayed the departure of my flight from Toronto to Las Vegas. But I'm here now. I'm settled in. Went across the street, got some supplies over at Walgreens, and I'm good to go. So I'm going to do a few things today. I think what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about my situation and what I'm doing tomorrow here at DevLearn. We'll talk about DevLearn in general, what's going on here. Especially important, I think, for those that might have never been to DevLearn before. This is their first DevLearn, or they're thinking about going to DevLearn, perhaps if not this year, next year. Obviously, it's probably too late to make it to Las Vegas and book a hotel and be here in time because it's literally starting tomorrow morning. Actually, technically, if you're talking about the pre-conference activities, it has started. So there's definitely some workshops and some certifications that take place the couple of days before. So right now it's Tuesday, and it's about 3 in the afternoon, a little bit about quarter after 3 in the afternoon here in Las Vegas. So my time's off a little bit. I'm normally Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, so this feels like very late in the day for me, but it's still like mid-afternoon, so it's a little weird. I'll think about maybe going out for dinner in a few hours. So let's start off with my situation. So here I am in Vegas. I'm doing this live stream and don't have all my equipment with me, so the audio might be not quite up to par. I did bring my Logitech Brio webcam, which is very portable. As you can see, I'm getting excellent quality, and based on the stream that I'm seeing over here, it looks really good. Looks really HD quality, which is good. Behind me, of course, is my hotel room. If this setup was a little bit more portable, I'd take you on a little tour, but it's a pretty standard hotel room, nothing special here. When you're a freelance e-learning designer developer who's also trying to promote their business by coming to a conference like DevLearn, you're gonna do things a little bit more ad hoc, if you will, or you're probably a little bit more taking the adventuresome approach to achieving your goals here. But I think it's really important that you have goals. So I obviously, to make DevLearn affordable, what I chose to do is rather than having to pay the full registration fee, I submitted a proposal, a speaking proposal, way back in the spring. And the key strategy I would say about doing that, because of course that gets you in the door. Normally you'd have to pay the full registration fee, which is fine if your company's paying for it or you've got a learning and development manager who sees this as a way of, fostering your professional development, which is all good. But when you're a freelancer, this is all out of pocket. So how do you do it in such an affordable way that it makes sense, right? So think about what your strengths are. Think about what your skills are. In my case, I'm an Adobe Captivate expert. So how can I lend that expertise to the conference and in exchange for that expertise, get free access to the rest of the conference, which I now have. So I submitted a proposal. The key thing is to look at what the conference is focusing on this year. So, for example, one of the things that they were focused on was virtual reality for one thing. And you'll see in the lineup of sessions, mine doesn't include virtual reality, but in the lineup of sessions, there's a lot of topics related to virtual reality or augmented reality. If I go to the session page and just type in virtual, there's a whole learning track, if you will, dedicated. There's 9 different activities within that virtual learning track here. So you've got virtual reality and learning, what you need to know to get started. You've got advancing your virtual instructor-led training skills, which kind of not virtual reality, but virtual in the sense that you're developing your online stuff. Game on, designing learning games for virtual classrooms. Obviously, it's an e-learning conference, so you're going to see a lot of the word virtual around. But if I just do a search for VR, there is an AR VR learning track separate from virtual. And you'll see programs like virtual reality and learning, what you need to know to get started. I said that one already, I know. Designing and assessing learning in VR using evidence-centered approach. That sounds really interesting. That session is with Kristen Torrance, and that's at 3 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday. Let's see what else we got here. One of the expo sessions is Mark Stouffer talking about Brink's VR journey, what they've learned so far. That sounds kind of interesting too. Jennifer Murphy is doing a morning buzz session on building the case for VR. And, because obviously there's some costs and some time investments involved in building a virtual reality program for your training department. So, how do you present that and make it something that is a viable solution for your department, for your company, for your industry? And there's tons like it, and that would be definitely a focus if I was doing a proposal, knowing that DevLearn 2022 wants to talk about, emerging technologies, for example. I'd make sure that my session covered those emerging technologies, the latest trends in e-learning and things like that. And I focused, knowing, of course, that a lot of these sessions are typically, sort of high level overviews of what they've done to be successful. I wanted a practical authoring tool based training session where, you bring your own device, you get a series of instructions from me on how to build a series, in my case, advanced interactions. So things, and I called mine Making E-Learning Magic, just to give it a little bit of a hook. But really what I'm teaching is working with variables and advanced actions to develop some learning interactions that are customized, that are easy to replicate, and look good. That's what the magic comes in. Going back to the premise that any sufficiently high-tech technology will look like magic if it's never been seen before. And that's the idea here. I'm going to show something that might be new for some of you. It may not, it may be. I'm hoping that it's new for most of you. But I'm hoping that when you see my session tomorrow, you'll look at these interactions and you'll think to yourself, I need that. I want that for my next e-learning project. So you'll pay attention and learn some things or two. So one of the things that leads me to is, how do I, as a freelancer who doesn't have the budget of, a big corporation behind me. How do I share my e-learning projects? Again, I'm just starting out. I don't have my own really full LMS that I can ask hundreds of people to log into and check out. One of the best solutions I find, not only for sharing content, but just as well for sharing content specifically to get people to give you feedback on that content, like reviews, or just let people test out for quality assurance your e-learning courses. And it's a fantastic tool. Now, this is going to look a little wonky for a second here. So I'm going to switch to my desktop view, and you're going to see my desktop and OBS going for infinity here. And I'm just going to switch to a browser view here. And I'm just going to share with you ReviewMyElearning.com. Now, I've worked with these folks before, and as far as I'm concerned, if you want to share your e-learning with with anyone, with any kind of stakeholder, this is definitely going to be a useful tool for you. In fact, there's a link in the description of this video. I'd like to ask if you're going to click on that link instead of just typing in Review My eLearning. You can let the folks at ReviewMyElearning.com know that I sent you. So I already have an account, but let's take a look at pricing for a second here. So if you just need something to share your e-learning course with a larger audience, you can use the small budget option, the Start My Free Account. All you need is an email address, and you can click on Start My Free Account. And that allows you to upload one course. It would just be you. You would have no additional uploaders that could work on this. It would just be for yourself. You can't customize it with your unique branding, but the best part of all, of course, it's 100% free. And the advantage of that is that when you're just getting started, if you're a freelancer, you don't have this huge budget, this is a great way to share your e-learning, and it looks professional, right? And to really emphasize the importance of this, obviously you're trying to save money if you're using something like this, but this tool can grow with you. So as you get a little bit more as you get a little bit more, sorry for that, as you get a little bit more experience under your belt and maybe a few more clients under your belt, you have, of course, the ability to, just simply upgrade and grow into different plans that might be more appropriate. For me, I would say that probably the 5 or the 20 course version of the account would be ideal because, of course, as you get more and more clients, you're going to need more and more capabilities of being able to share different modules that you're working on with those different clients. But I'll leave that for you to decide. Again, if you can use the link in the description of this video, if you're interested in signing up for such an account, whether it's a free account or whatever, it's great to let them know that I sent you. So that's all I'm asking for in return. Well, let me sign into my account here. And what I'm going to do in a moment, I'll minimize this for right now, and I'm going to open up my project that I'm going to be presenting tomorrow at DevLearn 2021. Here's the completed version of the project. And once that opens, we'll see it in Captivate. Here it is here. And this is the beauty of ReviewMyElearning.com. There's nothing for me to do. I publish it as if I was publishing it for a learning management system. So I'm going to choose Publish to my computer. The name, just going to go to my desktop. I'm going to zip the files up as I normally would. I'm going to choose scalable HTML content. If you're not doing responsive design and your project is a non-responsive design or blank project as it's come to be known in Adobe Captivate, you have, of course, the ability to shrink or grow your e-learning project to fit the browser window, and that works especially well for ReviewMyElearning.com. Now I've chosen SCORM 1.2. There is no actual assessment in this project, but it doesn't matter because I can just set slide views at 100%. So if you want people to test it for the ability to view all the slides and complete a project, that's fine. I'm actually going to go in here and say never send resume data, so it won't bookmark my course. That's just another little tip there if you're going to be allowing people to review your project multiple times. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and we're going to go ahead and publish this, and that's going to simply throw it up on my desktop there. Now this is real work that I'm doing here. I intend to use the ReviewMyElearning.com version of my course tomorrow during my session, because it's just an easy way to share content. There it is there. There it is on my desktop. Let's go back here and we'll just go to add a course here, and I can either browse to that location, or I could just drag and drop my project into this field here, and we'll just maximize that, and we'll go create my course there, and it's uploading as we speak here, which is perfect. So it's doing some processing. There it is there. So here is my project here, and let's go into the details, and I'll show you a couple of things first of all. So the idea here is that when you launch this course, learners or reviewers for that matter will see your course on screen, and over to the right hand side, you can move it around a little bit, but the default is on the right hand side. You'll have a little bit of a note-taking capability that you can provide me, the designer of the course, feedback, and like if I made a typo, for example, you could call that out, and instead of simply sending me an email that says, I spelled Constantinople incorrectly. Well, if I've referred to Constantinople 20 times throughout my e-learning course, I might not know where that feedback is for. But the advantage here is, if I go in and we'll just review this now for starters. Let's begin my review. I will see specifically to what slide you're referring to when we're launching this course. So this is what learners will see. They start this and they get to see my course here. They could write comments here. And again, as I mentioned before, you can move that panel down to the bottom if you wish. I like it off to the side here. But I can totally review the course here and see if everything works. And again, if this was for review purposes, I could provide the feedback here. But, in my case tomorrow, I don't have an LMS. I don't have a $1 million learning management system that I can just simply upload my project to and send links to the hundreds of people that might be attending my session. Please let there be hundreds of people attending my session tomorrow. But more importantly, I can now share this link. I can share this and make it a public link and allow lots of people to review my e-learning project that I've developed for tomorrow. So this is really kind of a cool little series of interactions, and my purpose tomorrow will be to teach participants at the DevLearn conference how to build these cool little unique, maybe you've seen some of these before, but I guarantee you haven't seen an information wheel before. That's going to be kind of unique. And my version of a multiple choice, multiple correct answer knowledge check slide like this one here, just something that you can use in your own project as well. But ReviewMyElearning is a great tool. Let me show you a couple things about setting up your projects for review. First thing you do, I think this is a great feature. Have you ever sent out your e-learning course for review to a number of stakeholders or a number of subject matter experts, and they've provided you individual feedback, and the feedback contradicts each other. So you're not really any further ahead. One stakeholder says, oh, I like it with the music in the background. And the other stakeholder says, you know what, get rid of the music. It's not appropriate for e-learning. And you're, like I said, you're no further ahead because now you literally don't know what to do because their feedback contradicts one another. So I think it's really useful to be able to share those comments so they can see each other's comments. So if they do disagree, maybe they can have a separate conversation and then, as a united force, come back with a definitive answer. You may wish to require login. This is useful, obviously, if you want to keep track of who's taking the course and therefore not do a public invite. If you would prefer a public invite, which might be more appropriate for a conference like this, this will generate a public link that anyone with the link can access that. And of course, when you're reviewing the course, you'll see everyone's the feedback, but of course you could also export it as an XLS file and then be able to see all the feedback in a single document, and you could start to work through that. I just recently did an e-learning project for an organization in Alberta, Canada, and it took me a while to build the e-learning course, I'll be honest, but the fastest part of the process was the review, and I'll tell you why. The review was done all with ReviewMyElearning. They saw each other's feedback, so there was no redundant feedback. I was able to implement those changes in a matter of minutes and send them an updated version of the course. I usually gave them a little time, to make other suggestions, but I did, I think, a total of 4, maybe 5 rounds of review, and I don't think it was longer than 24 hours with each round of review. And that was making the changes. They were very happy with the process, and the process totally worked for them. So speaking from experience using ReviewMyElearning, it's definitely a tool that I will continue to use. Admittedly, to be full disclosure here, I did a video for them about a year ago, which was a paid opportunity, and they certainly helped me out with a free copy of their tool here. But even if that wasn't the case, I would pay to have ReviewMyElearning. I absolutely have to have this tool moving forward, and I'll continue to use it. And I'm also the kind of person too, I don't just take people's money in exchange for some kind of empty, hollow endorsement. I have to believe in the product or service in order to put it on my site, because all of you, the viewers of my YouTube channel, you guys are important to me, and I have great respect for you, and I wouldn't want to steer you wrong. I feel very confident in endorsing ReviewMyElearning.com, and I'm going to use it tomorrow when I'm doing my session, because it's a great way for me to showcase the product. It'll be up on essentially what is a web server slash LMS. It's everything but an LMS, basically. It does accept the SCORM file, and I can even run reports on people just the same way I would if this were a full LMS. So this will be a great presentation tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that with all of you. If you have questions about ReviewMyElearning, don't hesitate to just put them in the comments down below. I'm very interested in your thoughts behind it. And if you have questions, or if there's an area of ReviewMyElearning.com you'd like to learn more about, I'm happy to answer those questions. And I can even put you in touch with the folks behind ReviewMyElearning if you have a question that I can't answer. Because I happen to know the people behind ReviewMyElearning.com, and they're a great bunch of people. And I find that they're really fantastic at getting back to you when you have a question or a concern about their product and service. But that said, look forward to see you guys tomorrow at the DevLearn conference. Hopefully many of you are interested in what you've seen, what the little sneak peek is that I've given you of what my project is going to be all about and what I'm going to teach you. You'll walk away with two exercise files. There'll be a starting exercise file where none of the advanced actions or the variables have been written, and that's what I'll be talking you through tomorrow. Even if you can't follow along, I'm giving you a completed version of that exercise file with all of the advanced actions and variables in place. And and as finally, of course, you'll have a working copy of that project file. The bonus aspect of my session tomorrow is that one of the things I'm going to show you is, and I'll show this to you right now. Let me go back to my desktop view here. Again, a little bit wonky on the screen there for a second. Let's use this as an example here. So this is a content carousel. And the idea with this, when you're running this content carousel, you've got a right arrow and you've got a left arrow, and the continue button is going to be hidden. Now, there's some debate over the value of what's often called forced navigation or enforced navigation. Basically, you're hiding the next button or the continue button until the learner has completed some activity on your slide. And that's usually why you require some of the more advanced interactions, because the stakeholder has said to you, hey, I don't want them to go forward until they've completed this activity, or until they've read all the content, or until they've watched the entire movie, etc. And the slightly different approaches, some of which are here in this project file, but there are slightly different processes depending on what the interaction is. This happens to be an interaction where we want to make sure that they see all four of the states of this multi-state object before we allow them to continue. So this is what's really cool about what I'm going to teach you tomorrow. Any of these, once you have them, you have a template that you can start with and then copy and paste into other projects. So I'm going to right click on this particular slide here, and I'm going to select copy. Now I'm going to click on new project, and we're going to go with new blank project, and I'm going to choose a size that's the same as what I've been using recently. I've lately gone to 1470 by 900, which is basically 1024 by 627 with the resolution bumped up a little bit closer to HD quality. And it gives you better looking images, better looking text. And of course, with HTML scaling, it doesn't matter because it's going to shrink and grow to your browser size anyway. So if I click OK, I've got just a standard project here. I'm using the theme kind of from the other project here, but here's the best part. I can click Edit and Paste, and I can add that very same interaction here. All I need to do is change the text in my multi-state object here. These are the different steps that are included. But what's great about this particular project file, let me delete this first slide here, is that without having to rewrite any of my variables or advanced actions, this slide that I simply copied and pasted from my template file 100% works just as it did in the original project file. So you can change the background image, you can change the colors, you can change the fonts, and everything's going to work brilliantly as you go from one project to the next. Don't try to duplicate it from within the same project, but copying and pasting, everything comes over clean. And so you end up with variables, the exact same variable that's used in this interaction. And if we go to advanced actions here, and we take a look at the existing actions, you can see I have an on-enter advanced action, and I have an advanced action for clicking the left arrow and the right arrow. And there's multiple tabs in this, but they're intact. They come over perfectly, and I don't have to write a single thing. The only time I would say that you have to rewrite one of these is if you need more than just 4 pieces of information. If you needed a 5th piece of information, we'd have to duplicate, say, item 3 and come up with another set of actions when there's a 5th item or a 6th item. But you can spend a little time, and the homework I'm going to give everyone tomorrow is take this project home and develop a few different versions of it. So here, for example, I have a click to reveal flip card interaction where I have 3 flip cards. Make a 2 flip card version of the slide. Make a 4 flip card version of the slide. So again, later when your manager comes to you and says, I need you to build this interaction with this many objects in it, you've already got the template. You can just copy and paste it from one project to the other, change the color, change the look and feel, change the content, and the magic's already there. Same thing with the content carousel. I tend to use click to reveals when I have 3 or 4 or maybe 5 pieces of content. When I get to 5 or 6 or 7, I move on to a content carousel because I don't want 7, 8, 9 buttons on my slide. I just want a left and right button, which makes a lot more sense. I don't use this one a lot. The information wheel is very cool when you've done a whole bunch of click to reveals already and you just want something different. But this is a little tricky because you need to keep track of how many objects you're going to place on the wheel, and you need to keep track of how many degrees you're going to turn that. So it gets a little more complicated. It's easy to build the interaction. It's probably easier to build the interaction than it is to build the wheel itself. That was actually the thing that took the most time for me. But these guys here, these knowledge checks, I love doing these because I'll be honest, I hate the Adobe Captivate built-in question slides. The multiple choice, we've basically seen the same multiple choice, multiple answer question slides since version, I don't know, 6, 5, 4 maybe, Adobe Captivate 4. And anytime you can build something unique like this, it gives your e-learning a fresh new look. And that's what my session's about. It's called Making E-Learning Magic with Adobe Captivate. And obviously you're not going to make magic with the default built-in interactions. You're going to use something unique, something different. And you don't have to use these polygons that I've used here. There are a ton of shapes that you can choose from to make this unique. It could be circles. You could stick with rectangles if you like. But, the idea here is something that doesn't look like all the other e-learning that's out there. So that's going to be my focus tomorrow. Hopefully you guys join me. I certainly hope that anyone in attendance of DevLearn tomorrow that's also a Captivate user, please come to my session. I know you're going to get benefit from it. Even if it's going to be hard to follow along because I got a lot to cover tomorrow, you'll walk away, most importantly, with the step-by-step documentation on how to build this too. And that's something that I'm going to share with all of you. I've got literally everything written out step by step. So including screenshots of all the advanced actions. You'll get that tomorrow. And I think you'll walk away with a really great e-learning tool belt of capabilities that are really going to work out for you. So, I've left the I've left the chat there, and I've not really done anything with it. But if you guys have questions, this is kind of a different live stream because I'm literally doing this from my hotel room in Las Vegas as I get ready for tomorrow's session. So what I'm hoping that maybe we can do is take some questions at this point. If you have questions about attending conferences, if you have questions about, how I do this with my freelance budget, I'm happy to address those types of questions. Excuse me, too much Diet Pepsi today. Pardon me. So by all means, if there are questions, that's what the live chat is for. The live chat is basically right here, right over there. So if you'd like, fire away with your questions. Um, Hopefully I can answer those. I apologize again. I said this at the beginning, but I'll say it again. I apologize for those that joined at 2 p.m. expecting something. It was just too soon for me to start a live stream after all my travel today. I'll tell you about my travel day if we wait for any questions that you guys might have. Um, my travel this morning was crazy. I was picked up by the airport shuttle at about 4 a.m. Eastern time. And they drove me, of course, to the airport, which was many hours earlier than I probably needed to be there. Well, certainly an hour earlier than maybe I needed to be there. But unfortunately, with airport shuttles, you take what you can get, right? So you get the ride when it's convenient for them because they might be bringing other people down to the airport. Now in Toronto, Toronto's one of these cities where they do pre-clearance in Toronto. So I'm actually speaking to a U.S. customs agent. Once I go through security, which is, typical airport security, nothing too fun for sure. I have to take my shoes off, have to take my laptop out, put it in a separate bin, run that through the x-ray machine, go through the scanner, only to find out that they want to ask me questions about why I've got an iPad and a laptop and a smartphone and stuff like that. Then I get through that. Then I line up for US Customs, even though I haven't even left Toronto yet, which is kind of an interesting side thing. Why that is, I don't know. But I guess the benefit is that once I'm pre-cleared through U.S. Customs in Toronto, when I do arrive here in Las Vegas, 5 hours later, because it is a 5 hour flight, um, I just get off the plane and go get a taxi cab. So it's relatively easy to do. Whereas, I'd hate to get all the way to Las Vegas to find out for some reason that they didn't want me to come into their country here in the United States. That would be a real disappointment. I'd have to get on a plane and turn around and come back 10 hours for nothing. It would be crazy. But at least when I leave Toronto, I know that I'm, approved to enter the United States, and I'm here now, so that's all good. So tomorrow, of course, I'm going to be looking forward to not only doing my own session, which I'm very excited about. To be honest, just between you and I, I've done a lot of conferences, mostly the Adobe eLearning conferences and the Adobe Learning Summit, which traditionally was here in Las Vegas as well. And they used to do some co-located events with DevLearn. This is my first live in-person DevLearn conference. I've been an attendee in years past, but this is the first time I'm going to be presenting. Last year I was on the docket as well, but that was strictly a virtual version of the conference. So this is my first time live here in person in Las Vegas. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to attending a bunch of sessions as well. And some of the ones I'm looking at, obviously there's another Adobe Captivate session that's going to be worth visiting as well. And let me share my screen again. Again, don't mind the infinity for a moment there. And we'll just go back to this site here. So we can do a search for this here and see that there's my session 302. So I'm 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. It's a bring your own device session, and as you can see here, it's making e-learning magic with Adobe Captivate. There's a great description here. I even have a little preview video, so check that out when you have a chance, and you can see what that's going to be all about, although I've pretty much shown you what you're going to get by coming to my session here. So one of the other things that is Adobe Captivate as well is Emily Wood is doing Building Your First VR Project in Adobe Captivate. So she picked up on the fact that VR is an important topic, not only within our industry, but something that DevLearn wanted to showcase and bring attention to for 2021. So she's got this session, and that is on Thursday. I want to make sure I'm there for that. I've worked with Emily before. We worked together on a responsive design project that a pretty big city in New York wanted to have done. And she brought me in to help with my Captivate expertise. And I think it was pretty successful overall. Some challenges for sure, because responsive design is not easy. But in her project, she'll be talking about virtual reality, and I'm curious to see her take on it. I've always sort of been intrigued by virtual reality in the sense that I can think of two or three really good use cases. I'm hoping to get some other examples that I can take advantage, that I can leverage as a freelancer as well. So when I'm talking with potential clients, maybe I can suggest some of the things that I learned from her session tomorrow as well. So um, DevLearn by far is a very big articulate oriented conference. I know that there's many people who use Captivate, but the United States is well known for being an articulate storyline dominated e-learning marketplace. But it doesn't mean you can't use what you learn from all of these sessions. Many of these sessions are going to be, just about, the high level concepts in general too. So a few that I'm very interested in participating with, basically anything Josh Cavalier brings to the table. Josh is a really good expert when it comes to video technologies, and most of what I know in Adobe Captivate with video, I learned from Josh or sitting in on one of his sessions. He's is an excellent expert. He's doing one of those morning buzz sessions, and that's going to be tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. I'm going to pop in on that one, say hi to Josh, and another one. Um, it's concurrent, unfortunately, but we'll go see Mark as well. Mark is also another video expert. Mark has, a huge learning channel dedicated to video-based learning online, and he teaches all kinds of software and coding and all kinds of cool stuff like that as well. So that's definitely something I'm going to check out. Oh, it looks like Emily's going to be doing something on storyboarding tools and techniques also at the same time. So I guess I'm going to be hopping around tomorrow. Mike Taylor's going to be talking about building your e-learning portfolio. What else we got here? Nick Floro is going to be talking about 6 learning trends to know, adopt, and grow your skills. That's a stage session. That sounds kind of interesting. I mean, there's a ton, right? Like there's lots of stuff out here. Fellow Canadian Phil Carousel will be doing a bring your own device workshop at 10:45 a.m. tomorrow. That's going to be new features and time saving tips you should know. So that's a really good source. As far as I'm concerned, there's no greater Photoshop expert in the e-learning community, because that's a big part of what Phil does as well, is e-learning. But he's a real Photoshop expert, and I've learned much from him as well. He's a great resource, and also a Canadian too. So Debbie Richards will be doing a session on designing for augmented reality. I'm very interested to see that. Debbie is a frequent contributor to the Captivate space, so I'm curious if she'll be talking about Captivate's abilities. I didn't think that augmented reality is something Captivate could do, but hey, maybe she's got some hints and tricks or some other software solutions to do to achieve the same thing. Um, Mike Taylor's doing something called No Code, No Problem. Quick and easy approach to automation and creating L&D apps. So very interested in that as well. Fellow YouTuber and author, of course, Tim Slade, making the leap into freelancing. That's something that he and I share. You know, he's worked for corporations for years and suddenly decided to go out on his own a couple of years ago, much like I did. And you know, I can't claim to be an expert in all of that, so I might pop in on Tim's session as well. And I can't say for sure. A lot of these things I'll probably change my mind at the last minute. But you know, you've got some really fantastic people here, some huge titans of e-learning industry speaking at this event here. Mark Lassoff, doing a BYOD. Oh yeah, I definitely should be in this session here. JavaScript is one of those things that's been on my bucket list for got to be a year or two, and I just can't get off my can long enough to just learn it. You know, I've bought courses and not completed those courses, so maybe this is a good opportunity for me to kickstart my JavaScript experience here. But there's tons, and this is like, I'm not even on day 2 yet. I'm still on Wednesday. So there's tons, and then we're into day, no, that's 3, so Wednesday, and obviously, I mean, there's so much to do at this conference. It's almost too bad you can't stretch this out over more days and attend more sessions, which would be ideal. But one of the good things about this is that even if you can't attend all the sessions, you can actually usually get your hands on the resources from the session. So like, for example, with my session, if you're unable to attend, you can still download the project files, and you'll see a complete version of the project file and the starter version. So you could reverse engineer my completed version and do everything that you need to do. So that's good news as well. So I can make that available. You know, that'll be available to everyone who's signed up for DevLearn. So good news there. Well, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I really wanted to cover today, is just kind of get into what's kind of happening here and why we're doing this stuff and all that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to sharing my expertise and hopefully meeting a lot of you. I know many of you are viewers of my YouTube channel. There are 20,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel now, so hopefully some of you are here at DevLearn this year. And you know, don't be shy. Come up and say hello. I'm always interested in meeting a fellow Captivate user, especially if you are a subscriber to my channel. I'm looking forward to meeting you and seeing you guys here and socializing and networking and getting to know each other safely, of course, because of course DevLearn is an event where, you know, safety is first right now, especially in these times. So you might not recognize me at first because I'll probably have one of these on, but here's what I look like with a mask. So if you're unsure that, you know, here's what I look like, you know, and while I'm on stage I will take it off, but when I'm out and about during the sessions I will be wearing my mask, not only for my own safety but for all of your safety as well. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you real soon, and hopefully I see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
If you thought this video was helpful, please like and share it with your colleagues. If you need help with Adobe Captivate, hire Paul for one-on-one instruction. Paul's goal is to focus on lessons based on your specific needs. Visit his website at CaptivateTeacher.com. And don't forget to subscribe to his YouTube channel.